This is Infection, the survival podcast, recorded live on Monday, July 24th, 2017, episode 132. Hello, everybody, and welcome to a special Monday edition of Infection, the survival podcast. Infection is your source for the latest information on survival video games. We bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. My name is Nick Craig. At Nicholas M. Craig is my Twitter. You can check out our website, infectionpodcast.com. We're here on a Monday, Brian. We're mixing it up, keeping everything fresh here. What's going on?
Our final show from our New York studios.
Command post. Yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, everybody, if you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, or you're more than welcome to go check out my blog, biteoftech.com. Of course, I encourage you to go to our website, infectionpodcast.com. On the right-hand side, we have a link that will join you right to our Discord group, which is a really wonderful place to find people to play different games with. We have usually 60 or so people in that group ready to play, or at least online. I'm not sure how many members we have, but there's usually 60 people online at any time. So if you like to play Battlegrounds, we've been playing a lot of 7 Days to Die this week, Ark, whatever it is. Usually you can jump into a channel, say, hey, is anyone up for playing one of these games? And you can find some people to join you. So if you haven't done that, click the link. It'll join you into the Discord. And it just, once you've done it once, you're a member of that Discord. Also, if you want to join our Steam group and get notifications of our live show, for instance, maybe you're listening to this after the fact and you missed the fact that we were going to be doing the show on Monday. That means you're probably not following our Twitter. So I'd encourage you to go to our Twitter. And also, you'd get a notification on Steam if you were a member of our Steam group. So it's a nice way to keep informed, especially when we have things like this to where circumstances make it to where we need to do the show a day early. Usually we try not to do the show late. Usually we'll do it on a Monday rather than a Tuesday, if we can. So I think that's about it.
Yes.
All the self-promotion.
Yes, I'm having an issue with pulling up the websites here. But yes, special Monday edition show. Next week we will be here on a Tuesday. Probably going to be in a different. I will definitely not be here. But we'll be here next Tuesday. May just be a little bit different of a setup, but we will be here next Tuesday. But again, there is always the chance that we might not be. So, as Brian said, just follow us on Twitter at InfectionCast. You get all this notification. I tweeted it out earlier today. I tweeted out I tweeted out probably 3 or 4 times today. So, if you're following that Twitter account, you'd be in the know about that. So, check that out. Yeah, that's about it.
Very good. So, one thing that we did this week is we played the last game of the week was 7 Days to Die.
Yes.
And they had come out with their Alpha 16, which we had talked about before.
Mm-hmm.
And so we wanted to get an opportunity to play some of that, see some of the new content that they've added. And so we'll be talking a little bit. I don't know if you want to start out with that.
Yeah.
Kind of the experience
Let's start
that
with
we had with 7 Days to Die. What did you think, first of all, from having played previously? Is there anything that you noticed immediately that you're like, hey, this is different, or this is better? What stood out to you the most?
So this is the interesting thing that stood out to me. So for anybody that's never played 7 Days to Die, kind of a quick, not even summary of the game. It's very tough. It's not an easy game. It's hard. And I'm not really into more hardcore survival games. I'm a big fan of 7 Days to Die, but Brian, I think you would agree with this. It's a hardcore survival game. It is very, very tough. And the way that you kill these zombies in many other games is you shoot arrows at them. The way you craft arrows is by you see there's bird nests that are on the ground, and those are filled with arrows or eggs, and then you collect those arrows.
Feathers and eggs.
Yeah, excuse me, feathers, and you use the feathers to craft the arrows. With this Alpha update, I noticed that there was significantly less birds' nests on the ground than previously, because I was constantly running out of arrows.
Yeah. And one thing that we noticed, and I don't know if you had a chance to really get to one of the big cities. So they now have these really big cities that you can go into that have pretty much skyscrapers in
Oh,
them.
okay.
And what you do is you have to work your way up. So you're kind of maybe going up an elevator shaft or stairwell. You get to a floor, you bust down a door, and these zombies will spawn inside, and it becomes kind of a mini game inside of these skyscrapers that you have to work from floor to floor to try to get to the top. Because if you just run to the top, every floor is going to spawn all the zombies on the way up. And so it actually makes a game to where you have to consistently keep kind of walking up and clearing a floor, then going up another floor, clearing it. It's one of those things for time sinks that I'm always talking about. That 7 Days to Die can get very repetitive,
Mhm.
especially after you've been playing it for a week, 2 weeks. You've seen a lot of the map. Then it gets in the same thing, and that kind of creates a little bit extra of a mini game. Perhaps you will find, and they did change up the leveling system somewhat.
Yes, that's
Used to-
massive.
that was one of the big things that I think that they changed.
So
That
explain
seems
what it
to make a big difference.
explain what it used to be and explain what it is now, because it's a game changing thing that they did.
Yeah. So one thing that they changed is that when you're crafting things, it used to be that you'd just constantly craft rather than repairing anything, you would always craft something new because that would level up your crafting of, let's say, the axe. And so there was no reason to repair it because it would just you wouldn't get the benefit of doing it. And so now what they have you do is you can repair it and it will lower the level of the thing once. So it repairs it, lowers it one level, and it's cheaper than actually making a new one. So you could then, if you want to, make a new one if you skilled it up, if you've leveled, because they actually have a leveling system to where you can put points into tools, you can put points into weapons, you can put points into armor or whatever it is that you put your points into. If you've raised that up, then you craft a new one, your item level on that will be higher. So it's rather than sitting there and trying to craft 100 axes, they've kind of taken that out to where you craft an axe at whatever your level is. You can repair it a couple times and you'll still have a fairly high level axe. But your goal is to, as you level up, spend your points in the crafting of that so that you can then make a better one that way. So it stretches it out a little bit more, and you can't get everything on the leveling tree. So you have to kind of pick your specialty. So rather than putting your points in everything, you kind of have to choose is what am I going to go without in the end game? Like, what am I willing to not have a max of eventually and spend your points wisely?
So, because what used to happen, the big problem is, as Brian was saying, when you craft your first axe, which is the first tool, it's not like Minecraft where you have like an axe and a shovel. The stone axe is like it's a multi-use tool. It's used to knock things down. It's used to repair things. It's kind of that and a bow is kind of like your main things that you use at the start of the game. So what would happen previously is you would before the first night. That's how this game cycles through. It's a 24-hour cycle, and at night the zombies are significantly harder. They're faster, and you pretty much need to be inside or they will kill you. So what people would do on the first night is they would just incessantly craft the axe over and over again. Every time this is on the old version. Every time you crafted the axe, it would gain 20 levels or 5 levels, and you would just do that all night and just throw them out of your inventory. With the new system, every axe you craft is level 25 when you start until you level up in the game to level 2 and have enough skill points to rank up.
To maybe get 150 level or something.
Well, it's not
like
even
that.
150. I went from 25 to I think like 70 the next time I crafted one after my level up. So it was a little bit of a bump in the level on it. But it no longer allowed. It was like an exploit almost. You would just sit there and you'd craft. You'd have a level 500 axe by the end of day 1 because you were just crafting and destroying. So that's a big thing that they changed, and it's game changing. It completely changed the dynamic of the game.
I mean, that's the thing, is it makes people play differently. They were playing it in a different way than they probably should have, probably a different way than the developers were intending, just because that was something that worked out in the favor of the player.
Absolutely.
And it was kind of annoying. Like, you're not doing the right things when you're playing, when you're doing that. Like, you should be focusing. And one interesting thing for those that don't really know very much about this game, the reason that they call it 7 Days to Die is because it goes in those 24-hour cycles, but then every 7th day, you have, I think it's called a blood moon,
Yep.
if I remember correctly. And that's where a whole bunch of zombies, like you're kind of preparing your base and trying to build it up and withstand those smaller attacks throughout the week, so that on the seventh day, your base is strong enough to be able to withstand the very strong attacks that are going to happen on that day. And every seventh day in the game, it gets more and more difficult. And so you're constantly having to continue to upkeep your base, maybe upgrade your base, get to a more secure location, or secure the location you're at, to be able to try to withstand that. So it just doesn't end, and it's not the same game over and over again. And a lot of people, they'll log out before the seventh day happens. The issue is time stops if everybody logs out. So somebody has to be logged in for time to continue to progress. And so usually it's to the benefit of everyone if everyone's logged in and kind of protecting the base, or wherever, wherever people are, they're logged in. Otherwise, if only one person is logged in, you have all these zombies coming in, and you could have them level your base during that time. So it's a good mechanic, and it makes it a lot of fun because it's giving everybody a goal. Like our goal is to try to get as many spikes around the base as we can before nightfall. Our goal is to try to put reinforced things around the base, like walls, or you can reinforce the existing structure that's already there. And so that's something that it gives everybody something to do. And if someone's not doing something, they're actually hurting the group. You don't just wander off and go do whatever. So
yeah, it's and the other thing too that's so interesting is going back to this, the game is tough, the game is hard concept. You logging in and you just sitting there even at night, you're very quickly losing your food bar, your I don't know what you'd call it, the amount of food you have
hunger,
left, and I guess your hunger and your water, and that is a huge burden on the group. I mean, for a long time at the start of this game, I don't know what day they're on now, I haven't had a chance to play today, everybody was hovering between 10 and like 25% food and water, and because the resources were just so limited. So people just being logged in and not doing anything is a huge detriment to a group, because you're literally wasting resources keeping yourself alive when you're not providing anything. So it's a tough game. And
it's a balance, because sometimes you have to run and try to find, because you don't know, it's a randomly generated map. You don't always know what is to your east. You don't know what's to your west. You don't know anything of what's around you initially. And so sometimes, rather than reinforcing your base, you're like, well, I've got to go. I'm just going to start running east and see what I run into. I'm going to start kind of unlocking the map and trying to see what is out there. And so you'll have some people that are exploring. And the thing is if you're coming close to a 7 night, they don't want to be out in the middle of nowhere at some random little shack, on the seventh day blood moon, because all those zombies will come and destroy them. So the goal is to try to get out as far as you can, discover things, maybe bring some things back, everybody get back on the 7th day, and then the cycle starts over again. And so you try to go out a little bit farther, and then you're like, oh, I found this really good place. Then, it kind of as a group decision, you say, well, do we want to move our base and try to go this better reinforced area? So it kind of keeps that progress going, which makes the game a lot of fun. And it gives something to kind of like Ark does. If you log in, there is something that you can be doing. Like you can be going out and gathering supplies, gathering wood, gathering metal to smelt down, and trying to reinforce something in the base. Like there's always something for someone to do. But there's the danger that if it's only one person doing it, time is progressing and you guys are making the minimal amount of progress to be able to try to prevent something from happening. So kind of those weird games to where you can't really go in there and play by yourself. Like you should have other people there with you whenever you play.
Yeah. And that's, that's part of, I don't want to step on anybody's toes or anything with this. But they're definitely, I definitely don't like how one person playing progresses the entire, I don't know of a good way to, Brian, you know what I'm talking about. I'm trying to make this point. So the problem is if Brian and I are playing with Friday night, we probably had 10 people playing. That Discord was packed. There's a whole bunch of people playing. So 10 of us are playing. Everybody else besides me logs off, and I play for 2 more hours. I progress the game significantly farther for everybody else. But it affects everybody else, and I don't know what the solution is.
It's not a good solution.
There's not,
because if you look at Ark, like time is always happening, right?
Mm-hmm.
But let's say everyone's logged off. I don't know that your dinosaurs will starve. Everything kind of goes into a hibernation mode. One person logs in, they can go through and make sure everything is fed, and they can do a little bit of work to make sure that while they're on there, everything is still fine, and then go do whatever they want. In this, there's that difference of if someone's not there, if other people aren't there, like that time progresses the same, whether there's 1 or there's 10, and it gets harder whether there's 1 or there's 10. So throughout the day, as people log in throughout the day, which is how it tends to work with these, with online games, as people in their different time zones are getting on, that time is constantly going forward, and it's getting harder and harder. So that, I don't know of there. I don't think there is a good solution to maintain this kind of a model of a game and have it still work in the same way. I think they make it so it's not ridiculously hard. And I think that the blood moons are more difficult. Like it will spawn based on the people logged in. So if more people are logged in during the blood moon, I think it does get more difficult. So, so there is a little bit there that helps, but it's still, I mean, you could be on the 6th, 7th day, right? And it's going to be a lot harder, and you may not have even logged in since day 1.
And this
you're going to jump in, and you're going to be weeks into the game.
And this is one of the other issues with this game in particular. Ark has this similar problem. So for example, if you are listening to the show and you were not able to join us on Friday night, and you were to join on, let's say, Sunday, you would be so far behind. If you're the kind of person that doesn't want everything given to you, it's probably not worth your time to play, because the amount of catch up that you have to do based on the strength of the zombies is so tough that if you don't start at the beginning with everybody else, or somewhat close to the beginning with everybody else, you probably should just not play. As bad as that sounds, it's just there's not a good way. There's just not a good way for people to join mid-game. It's like playing a board game, Brian. You can't, somebody can't join 3/4 of the way through the board game as a fresh player. They don't. It just doesn't work. The whole game dynamic has changed, and that's the issue that 7 Days has right now, and I think it's going to continue to have. Is it's like a single player game, but everybody's playing together, because somebody just can't join your single player game 4 days after you've started playing, because they've missed everything. The game is completely different. For example, we had this issue. I logged in Saturday morning around probably noon Eastern with a couple of people, and it was like 19:30 on night 6. So as we logged in, we were like less than 3 hours away from the 7th day, which at the first 7th day I think is probably one of the toughest, because you're super low on food, you're low on resources. So it's an issue with it's just an issue with the mechanic of the game.
And that's why one thing I was very specific about is everybody needs to be there ready to log in at 9 o'clock, because we're all going in at the same time, because just having people trickle in doesn't work with this game mechanic.
No,
you have to have it to where people are consistently, like everybody's on at once, and then they can experience that whole initial couple day period. Because it's not like, let's say, even with Ark has the same problem a little bit. If you log in a day after everyone started, you're instantly progressing, and you kind of miss that initial grind of trying to get your your foothold somewhere. But I think I think with Ark though, if you go off on your own and kind of do your own thing, you can't experience that. With this, there's just no way to really truly experience it. So I think that for the game, it works for how it works. I don't think I'd want them to change it
No.
to try to fix that mechanic, because it would ruin the whole feel of the game for everyone when they are playing it correctly.
Mm-hmm.
It'd be
I would
hard.
agree
I
with you
mean, I know
completely.
they do balance it a little bit
Yeah, I mean,
with the zombie being harder on with lots of people on.
yeah, I mean, I agree with you completely. It's just a very interesting. I want to say it's an interesting problem, but it's not really a problem. So it's just interesting how the game plays out.
People just have to play, a little bit of a considerate way of, don't play 24 hours, or well, not 24 hours in the game, but don't play all day real time. And on this type of game, if you're going to be playing by yourself all day, then just go play a single player version of it.
Yeah,
because you're getting the same experience. This game is a group game. This is a game that's meant to be played with at least a couple of people.
exactly, and
joining you.
And that's a problem. And you hit the nail right on the head, Brian. It's different time zones. I mean, we have people that play. We've got people that play all the way from California to Australia. I mean, the time zone difference is insane with those two different those two different locations. So our group definitely has a problem with that. Again, is it the end of the world? No. The good thing for us is when we play for maybe a week or two at the most, and then we drop it for months and then come back. I wonder. And
that's one reason why I've been keeping everybody away from Ark, because I know we have the exact same habits. We'll play this game to death, 7 days to die to death for a week, maybe a week and a half max. And then we'll be like, oh, we've played that. We've got our fill of that game for now. If I would have, the release of Ark is coming up on the 8th. I know if everybody was saying a week ago, 2 weeks ago, can we play Ark? Can we play Ark?
No.
That's a game that you can play a little bit longer, because you can get away with playing that game for 3 weeks, maybe even 4 weeks, but then you'd be like, I don't want to touch the game for a while. Unless we can get onto a public server where, there's a little more of a challenge after that. But I think, with that, you got to kind of time it, because it'll be the same thing. We'll play for 3 weeks, maybe, and then we probably won't play Ark for months and months.
Yeah. I mean, between Friday night at 9 and Saturday night, I probably played the game for like 15 hours. We played a lot. Yeah. I mean, I literally went to bed at 3 o'clock in the morning, woke up at 11, and then started playing again until 5 or 6 at night. But that's the thing I like about these games. I am not a fan. Let me retract that. It's not that I'm not a fan of the long, drawn-out play style. I liked when we played Ark. It was fun. We played for maybe 6 weeks all the time, literally every day. Yeah. And I like that. But I like games that can pull this off like 7 Days to Die. You can play the hell out of the game for a couple days, get your fill, and then just say, and you don't hate it at the end. You just go, okay, I'll jump in the next time they do something bigger. I'll jump in the next time we're going to wipe this server. You get your fill, and I'm not at that. I mean, I'm at that point now because I know I'm not going to be able to play again before the server is wiped or whatever. But I played for probably 15 hours. I could probably do another 10 until I was like, okay, I'm good with the amount I want to put in. So that's that's
and this thing has kind of a limited map too. I mean, it's not like Minecraft where you just keep running and running and running and running.
Mm-hmm.
There is an edge to the map, so it's a circle. Once you've pretty much explored where everything is, you've kind of explored the map. There's not really, unless you're going for major builds, you're trying to make crazy bases just for fun, there's not really a point to go on that map. So it kind of has a point where it plays through for your average type of gameplay. You're like, okay, we've reached the limits of this map, and it gives you a reason to kind of stop, reset it, start fresh again, which a lot of other games, it's really hard to do because you feel like you're giving up so much. With this one, okay, you've built that base to protect against zombies, but if you start fresh, you get a whole new map. You get a whole new experience again.
Yep.
So I think that works out a little bit better, where with Ark, we always feel like, man, if I ever spin down a server and then start a fresh one, and we're like, well, what about all that stuff we built? What about all those dinosaurs?
Yep.
And what about all these things that we're leaving behind, that makes it kind of tough, and you're like, well, how long should I keep that one going?
Yeah.
But personally, I like the beginning parts, like of Ark. I like that beginning experience.
Yeah, it's fun.
Of doing the, like, let's go and find things. Let's try to get our first couple teams down. Like, that's my favorite part. It's not the maintenance and let's now put up 100 of these walls. It's that first initial couple week period that I enjoy the most.
Yeah, and with 7 Days to Die, the cool thing is, for example, our base is a fortified motel. We found a motel and we fortified it. We kind of boxed off the top part of it, and that's our base, which is really cool. I'm typically not a fan of games that, like, for example, if you were to tell me H1Z1 is going to allow you to make bases inside of the house, I would say that's stupid. I have no interest in doing that. That is the stupidest thing. I don't want to fortify a stupid house in H1Z1. 7 Days to Die is completely different because you have so much customization over what is. I mean, if you could literally destroy an entire building from the ceiling all the way down and make it so it's nothing but a concrete pad. You have the flexibility to modify the buildings. It's not like when I think of fortifying a building, I think you go in, you add, some walls, you make a door, you do something, and that's it. It's not like that in 7 Days to Die. You literally customize the entire thing, do whatever you want. I mean, Brian added walled in the entire bottom floor of this motel. It was like a front-facing motel. Most games would not allow you to do that when they allow you to fortify a base.
Yeah. Well, and that's one thing. I mean, this is the part that we kind of enjoy about Minecraft too. We played Minecraft as a group, and it was really fun because you have so much freedom in a game like that. Let's try to make something crazy. Like let's make a building that has a room for every person, and and then you can get into crazy mechanics, of automating harvesting of crops and all this stuff. There's a bunch of those kind of side games for people to do. And this is a game that kind of has that of, all right, do you want to go and dig into the ground and just make a cave and make a whole underground bunker? If you want to do that, you can. And this is one of those games that allows you to do that.
Absolutely. So it's very interesting to say the least with 7 Days to Die. It's definitely not for everybody. You have to be willing and able to put in you have to be able to put in some time right off the bat for it to be worth playing. You have to put in some of that time off the bat. Once you do that, you're in good shape. But I would say check it out. It's expensive. It's $25. It's not, it's not.
It was on the Steam sale. I mean, if you're hesitant to get it at that price, then just put it on your watch list because it does go on sale probably a couple times a year. And it's one of those that we don't play it all the time. It's not one that you're going to play all the time. There's some people do, like Heisenberg plays it quite a bit.
All the time. And
he's into the whole mega build aspect of the game of just trying to make, which is a lot of fun to do in this type of a game. But if you're one that's more of a casual player like us, to where you're like, all right, let's play it for a while, let's experience it, let's have fun with it as a group, and then you don't touch it for a while, just put it on your watch list because it may come on sale before we play it again as a group, and you can have it at that point, put it in your library. But it was definitely worth, if you can get it on sale, it's definitely worth whatever that price is.
Yes, absolutely. So 7 Days to Die, check it out. We will probably revisit it in a couple of months when they have their next update. So looking forward to it. Definitely add it to your wish list if you wanted to join. And unfortunately, if you didn't have a chance to join us this time, hopefully you can make it next time because we had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun.
Yep. Yeah, and we always do. But that's the thing, is we don't try to play it every 3 weeks.
No, you wouldn't play it. I just, unless it's your game and that's all you play and that's what you do and that's what you dedicate yourself to playing for the most part, like Heisenberg, who actually, we were lucky he was able to join us on Friday night and, actually help us out. I mean, we all have, most of us all had general knowledge of how to play the game, but this is coming from a pro and, telling, all right, we should do this, let's do that. All right, this is the order you should be doing things in. That helping hand was definitely well appreciated. So thanks, Heisenberg, for stopping by and being our crutch. That's an accurate statement.
Yes, being our instructor.
Yes.
He's very good at the game, so it makes it always a lot easier because he's like, oh, we need to get this, we need to do this, and it kind of gives everybody that direction they need. So
yeah, definitely.
All right, so do we want to go on to some ARC news?
Yes, let's talk about ARC, Brian. We broke news on this show last week and said we are just going to assume that they're going to wipe the servers. We're wrong, as usual,
Yes.
as per usual. See, if you notice in the intro, it says we bring you the latest news, reviews, updates, and more each and every week. It does not say accurate information. It does not say timely information. It just says we bring you news. It doesn't say what kind of news. We bring you news.
Could be fake news.
Very, very well could be. So trying, just assuming that, hey, they're going to have to do some type of wipe with this game. The servers are stale. People are done playing. New people can't get in on the public servers. So we said that last week, and I think that was Tuesday we did the show. Maybe Thursday, the official announcement came out. ARC is not wiping the current official server set, but what they are going to do is, while keeping the existing active official servers going with no wipe, they are going to introduce a new set of official servers that will be wiped. And what the purpose behind this is new players like ourselves, like our group, who want to jump into the game and start fresh, will be able to hop on a fresh server where massive tribes haven't already spent a year and a half, and that the old tribes on the old servers will hopefully jump from the official servers onto some of these new servers as well, because they do say that the goal is, once the old official servers are near empty, they will be given a 1-month warning in which then the server will be wiped. So they're going to essentially repurpose the old official servers once the player base has moved off them. This is their way of not causing an earthquake on social media. I mean, this is their way to do it. They're weaning the old players off. They're saying, okay, you can choose to stay on your old server, but no, it's going to be gone sooner rather than later. So you can stay
as your
on your
population dies out, as everything goes away. If you don't have enough players, and they did offer, they said, we will give you the saves so that you can play it on your own private server,
which is really cool,
server if you'd like. But and this makes sense. I'm hoping, and here, we'll give a little bit of speculation here.
Yes, of course.
What I am hoping for is that the legacy servers are truly legacy. They don't have the full capabilities of what the new server offers. I'm hoping that the legacy servers are the island map, like you had. They may have some sort of progression, whatever is in there currently. I'm hoping that the new system, whatever they're doing for this ascension and going to whatever it is, maybe new maps, I'm hoping that is a unique experience that will kind of pull some of those people from those legacy servers to say, hey, I want to experience this, and get them off those servers.
Yeah.
Because they're, all those players, since we don't know exactly what the whole ascension system will entail, we don't know what's going to be on the 8th. I don't know, without us having them tell us directly, I don't know, what it is that we're going to see on the 8th that's so much different than what it is exactly right now. But I'm hoping that they kind of keep that separated, where legacy is, okay, it kind of runs in the way that the old system did. And then they have this whole new experience, so that you don't have people that are not getting to experience it because they're like, hey, I have a level 100 character, and I'm instantly at that level, and maybe then ascending to something else on that server. I think they're kind of taking away the whole experience of what this game is supposed to be. They may never play ARC truly as it was released if they're doing that sort of thing. So I hope that the whole new system is on these new servers, then, and there's some people that may like it how it, having just the one map, or, having it be to where they're pretty much playing one map. And I hope that you can't transfer from server to server on the new system.
And thank you for reminding me. You will not be allowed to transfer dinos, saves, or characters between the old official servers and the new official servers. That is what they've also announced, making it
But I'm
clear.
hoping that between even the new ones, I'm hoping the Ascension thing is purely the server transfer was a test of the Ascension program.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they can't go from server to server, because there's been a lot of headaches from what I've seen from people on that whole system of people coming in and just wiping servers.
Oh, that's what happens
for fun.
Well, it's not. It is fun. I mean, think about it, Brian. If you're the top dog and you know that you can't be beat, you just go from server to server, wipe them clean, and then
it's fun for them. Yeah.
Well, yeah, of course. I mean that, but I hope that they do turn that off as well, because I have just the horror stories of people just being like, and then the tribe just transferred everything in and just killed all of us, and it was all of our stuff is gone,
Yeah,
and then they left.
Dinosaurs,
and then
people
they leave.
just quit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's like a week or something before you can transfer back, and then they're on server for a week, and then they just leave. They just transfer back off. They're good to go. So it's very, 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 very crazy. To see how that whole system worked. So,
but we will do for our game of the week. So the week after that, and what we may do is start that game of the week, because that releases on a Tuesday. So what we might do is announce and then either pick a server to start on the 8th. We might do that. So rather than us running our own private server, we can pick one of these new servers and then announce it officially. Hey, we're playing on this server, because who knows how it will be running the first day. I mean, we know how these releases, when you have 5 million in sales, as far as the number of sold copies, everybody goes to log in at the same time. This will be an interesting system of how they pull this off. So there may not be a lot to accomplish the first 2 days on this anyways. So we will announce on that Tuesday, which will be the 8th, which server we're going to do. And then maybe we can start that Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
It'd be cool.
Kind of getting our roots down.
Maybe we should do an earlier show on that Tuesday and try to.
Well, we can see
what time they wipe. Yeah.
We can see when they start spinning servers up, if people are able to log in. I don't know.
Yeah.
These guys are pretty good.
They are very good.
But we don't know how many people are going to be trying to log in.
Very true.
And here's my other concern that I keep coming back to with this. When you have all these people logging in day one just to check it out, and they fill up all the servers, what happens day 14 when all these people stop playing and now you have empty servers?
I don't think
that's
that
what
will
I'm really
happen.
interested to see.
I think they're going to bring up a limited number. I mean, here's the thing. I think they know how.
But then how are people aren't going to be able to play?
I don't know. I do, but PH is saying that you definitely need to get on day one if you want to be on a public server. So we'll figure that out. Hopefully next week we will have some more information on when when these new servers are actually coming online, and hopefully we can adjust accordingly. Because I'm
gonna make a goal to get people online and get a foothold. And
I mean, people are already gonna be here Tuesday at 7 for the show. So if we could do the show like an hour early or something, or only make it worth an hour, people will be here. We'd be like, all right, jump on a server, let's go and let's get a foothold down, and then call out of work for a couple days, brand new job.
I know this isn't for me. Like that's getting to the end of my semester.
You're gonna have to figure it out.
Finish this.
Suck it up, Buttercup. You're gonna have to figure it out.
Like the worst time possible.
You better get crack-a-lacking now, so that
I know I gotta get that class passed before the 8th.
Come 2 weeks, you are not gonna be doing anything besides playing Ark all freaking day.
I know. So I had to learn Java in the next 2 weeks.
You'll be fine. I have a lot of confidence in you. So we'll figure out. We'll announce. We'll figure out. But I definitely want to hop on the servers day one, even if it's kind of a crap experience like Conan, where the servers are up and down or whatever. Definitely like to get on there day one to at least get a foothold, get a base, and just get something going. So we will do our best. PH says he's already called in sick days around then for a few weeks. I don't know if he's. I wouldn't surprise me if he is not joking.
Yeah.
So there you go. It's a full-time commitment. You can, I mean, it literally.
Ark is one of those where you want to get in, and you want to get that progress.
Well, and the hard thing is, So you spawn in. You can't tame a dinosaur. You have just these stupid tools. The first groups that are able to tame just the crappiest dinosaurs, the level up that they have on the fresh players is insane. Like being a level 1 and being a level 5 is like playing a different game. It's like being a level 20 and then having rocket ships at the end of the game. It's so uncomparable because you're so vulnerable and you can
just run around and kill people with your
that's all you can do is just hope somebody goes AFK and you can kill them, because the people with the select few that have dinosaurs get dinosaurs quickly right off the bat are the only ones that they rule the server for that short period of time. So it is definitely important. I guess this is a kind of note to anybody that wants to play Ark day 1 on an official server. You have to get on there day 1. If you don't get on there day 1, you're going to lose your foothold. And this isn't across all servers, but you probably won't have the chance to really.
This game's all about alphas on the servers.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's what it's about. So if you're wanting to play on a public server, either go all out or go play local. I mean, it's just how it works.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go and jump into some of the changes. So they did another major version. If I remember correctly, they jumped from, I think, 263 directly to 264. And this was on the 22nd, so just 2 days ago. And here's something that I wasn't sure what it meant. And I left a message in their forum asking about this, and I haven't gone back to check to see if they answered, but they said, Simple Sky, non-true sky system with atmospheric fog.
Cool.
Now, people usually don't know what True Sky is. True Sky is a program for Unreal, also has a Unity version. But a lot of these games where you see the clouds floating through the sky, you see weather effects, a lot of those things are using True Sky because it gives a very good volumetric cloud system that looks very realistic. It gives a day-night cycle. You can see the sun come up, the moon come up. A very good system, but one thing that it doesn't support right now is DirectX 12. And so I am wondering if they are in anticipation of saying, you know what, we don't know if they're ever going to upgrade True Sky to be DirectX 12 compatible. We don't know when they're going to do it. I've worked with the True Sky devs and somewhat unresponsive. I mean, it's very difficult to get an answer out of them. I mean, you can get a support answer, but it's not something where you can have a conversation with them and they'll be like, oh yeah, here's information. So I am wondering if they are actually switching to a different sky system so that they'll be able to support DirectX 12.
That's what it looks like.
And tried to look around for what Simple Sky is. I saw a couple references to the word with some Unreal things, but I couldn't find something that said, here is Simple Sky. So I am wondering if this is for them testing to leave True Sky, or at least be able to disable True Sky to have a different sky system that is DirectX 12 compatible, so they can finally, because I think that's the only thing that's been holding them back from implementing DirectX 12 is that their Sky doesn't support it at the time.
Do you think Simple Sky is built into Unity, built into
Unreal?
Unreal?
Yeah. No, I don't. Maybe that. I mean, I don't remember if it's called Simple Sky. There is one that is kind of a built-in simple system.
That might be it.
But I don't remember it being called Simple Sky.
Interesting.
So that may be it. So Simple Sky could be, and that one looks all right. It's not as in depth, but I'm sure that if they could easily go in and add all these things with their developers to make this all work. But yeah, so that was kind of one of those speculation things. I'm like, they didn't explain it. They just said Simple Sky.
That's because most people don't care, Brian. I mean, that's the reality of it. Is only you and I care. What sky? What program are you using to generate your sky? That's fascinating.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I want. Yeah. Well, like, is that a better system? I want to know about it. So yeah. So Simple Sky. So I'll do a little more digging into that. Maybe they will start to announce. I've been trying not to log into the game because I want to be all fresh, and I don't want to get myself in there and running around and doing things. I want to have it to be to where on the 8th, I'm like, we need to play some of this.
Hell yeah.
But I'll see if I can find any more about Simple Sky and see if that is that default, if they're referring to the default Unreal sky system that's in there. And then it says single player dinos no longer fall through cave floors. streaming destructible meshes, optimized memory. So things that break apart in the game. Let's say you chop a rock and it breaks into pieces. You break something like the plants, whatever it is. They've optimized the memory for that. Fixed host menu settings. They added a host menu setting for disabling dino taming, disabling dino riding, fuel consumption, interval multiplier, and increased platform structure limit. And then the Yetaranis, right? Yetaranis, I think that's correct, now has an automatic courage mode in single player. So when set, the Yeti will give a courage roar every 30 seconds if an ally dino is in front of it. So gives a buff there automatically in single player. Fixed a bug that provided infinite power. They reworked the trike charge forward and the tail wag animations. So those should look a little bit different when you get in there. They removed underwater fog. And I'm wondering if this has something to do with the new atmospheric fog of the sky system. If that's kind of related, whether or not they had a choice in that. The Ichthi, is that right?
You're asking me like I'm going to help you pronounce
and
it.
Pego, which are they're short for a longer dinosaur name, no longer steal item skins. And then they fix a bug where it would rain underwater, which I'm wondering once again if that's a True Sky fix. They keep referring back to we removed underwater atmosphere, underwater fog. We removed underwater rain. That one program controlled most likely both of those things. So all these hints are coming back to they removed True Sky. They fixed an issue where the max level dino achievement would not be awarded. The final boss balance of the Broodmother, the Megapithecus, and the dragon bosses in single player. So those should be a little bit more even for playing by yourself. Hitting stuff with a torch can now set it on fire. Player default name changed to human. I don't remember. So was it Joe? Was it Joe or something before?
Yeah, I think it was
all those characters.
I think it was Joe.
Were named the same thing.
It was Joe.
Okay,
yeah.
So now it's human instead of Joe. Fixed hat sockets on multiple creatures. That's for those holiday hats, like you get the Santa hat and things like that. You can put on the creatures. They tweaked radial wheel to prevent accidentally opening submenus. The metal windowed walls now match metal walls when painted. Implants no longer show up while searching in the inventory. And I'm wondering if that means they're not in there at all. So, you know how you'd always have that thing in your arm in your inventory in the game. I'm wondering if that's still there.
I've got the real question.
And then they moved.
I'm sorry to cut you off. That's really important. You mentioned changing the name. Are they going to change it? Is it still going to be called shootergame.exe? Or is that going to be up?
I hope they fix that.
I haven't seen that yet. If somebody in the chat has got Ark installed now, could you open it and see if it's
default
still
Unreal?
Yeah, could you see if it's
I wonder
still
how much
called
process to change that. Shouldn't be.
Can somebody see if that's been changed? Because I mean, you can't release your game and still have it
with the default Unreal.
You can't have that. I mean, that just doesn't work. So I'm curious.
We'll see what they do.
Yeah.
All right, and then they moved some artifacts on the center map, so they've been moved around. Reinstated the center jump puzzle with artifact as the reward for completing. Increased brightness underwater on the center and fixed the barrier not being visible underwater. They fixed an issue that causes rafts to teleport upward out of the underworld on the center. They fixed eels not being tameable in Primitive Plus. They changed the crafting requirements for trank harpoon bolts in Primitive Plus. And then various PG Arc improvements. What's PG Arc? Trying to think what that stands for.
Is that a form? Is that their form or something?
No, I'm trying to think of what map markers more. It's one of their modes or maps, and I'm trying to remember. I can't think of what it is. PG Arc. I'll have to look it up. But then they did a Ragnarok update. So there was a pretty big update that they have for that, and you're more than welcome to check it out if you want to. If you want to go into there and do that. Yeah, I don't see anything about PG Arc.
Oh, it's I think it's the custom procedural generator for Arc.
Oh, okay. So procedural generation.
So that's the random map thing. Yeah. I've never seen that name in. I've never heard them reference that before.
I haven't tried it yet. I haven't even tried to run.
But I've never heard them reference that name. That I've never heard.
Yeah, I've never seen them say PG Arc. Yeah, so we'll have to keep that in mind for the future. Procedurally generated Arc.
Yeah.
So and then they did 264.1. Just one thing. They fixed a startup crash, and this is one where they said highly recommended that all server hosts immediately upgrade to this version because it is causing this crash. And then one fix with 264.15, fixed artifact crates having no artifacts within them. So that is pretty much all of the Arc updates. So,
all right,
do we want to do the game giveaway here really quick?
Yeah, let's start up a game giveaway, and we'll work our way on from there.
All right, so let me go ahead and get this opened up. This will be another 30 points raffle. So if anyone is in here in chat, they should have enough points for this. Exclamation point giveaway in chat. And we will be giving away a copy of Shadow Warrior. This is one they gave away. I've got a couple keys of it. So we will give away a couple of them over the next however many weeks. But this is Shadow Warrior for people that maybe didn't get it. I think it was given away for free, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so we will we'll give a copy of this away in about probably 5 or 10 minutes. And there's a link. I put it in chat so people can check it out. Exclamation point giveaway for a copy.
Yes, and also got a couple of different ways that you can help support the show listed here on our website. Our first is our infectionpodcast.com/support page. And on this, we've got links to our Amazon affiliate program in a whole bunch of different countries. Direct PayPal contribution that you can do if you want to donate to us directly, or our Humble Bundle link, which a lot of people have been using, and I want to give a quick shout out to everybody that's been clicking on those links. This Capcom bundle, at least in our affiliate program, is selling like hotcakes. I think we've sold like 10 copies of it just with our affiliate link. It's a really I actually bought it.
Yeah, me too.
So I know a bunch of people that picked that up. So infectionpodcast.com/support. You can check those out, help support the show, and keep everything rolling. We've got a couple of cool projects that we're working on that we'll announce here in the coming weeks, but some cool stuff we're looking to do. So infectionpodcast.com/support. Alrighty, let's get into H1Z1. Nothing insane this week, but we did have an update. This is a game.
It seems like it had a lot of fixes in it.
Yeah, and this is a game update. This was published on the 20th. A couple of things in here. First thing, hit registration. Fixed an issue where shots could pass through players sitting in vehicles from certain angles without taking damage. I remember that being kind of an old school, an OG kind of H1Z1 bug where sometimes being in vehicles you just wouldn't take damage. In terms of their anti-cheat, several changes have been made. And, you know, of course, they're trying to work on making it so people don't cheat. Updated the network diagnostic HUD element that can be toggled by pressing N. That's the default keybind for that. So there's some network information if you want to. Maybe you're always missing shot. Maybe you're like, I keep shooting at this person. I can't kill them. You can press N and you can get some network diagnostic. Maybe see what's going on with that. So
and they encourage you, if you're going to be streaming, to turn that on. So that way you can start to see if your stream that you're doing, maybe to Twitch or something like that, is causing you to have a lot of latency and desync issues. So they said if you're going to be streaming or recording, you know, this will help. They says it'll be a huge help to help pinpoint problems.
Yes, absolutely. You know, always looking for that stuff. Some stuff about Steam avatars. Players will now correctly be awarded credit for kills when their victim is finished off by indirect damage such as gas fall. So, for example, this is common in Battlegrounds. Somebody, if you're in the gas, somebody's behind you in the gas, they shoot and kill you, and then they die in the gas. H1Z1 wasn't properly crediting you points for those kills. So now that they're going to credit those, medkits,
they would credit the gas for the kill rather than you, even though the gas maybe have just been the last point of damage.
Last point of damage, exactly. Which could be an issue, and it's a kind of an obscure thing that doesn't always happen, but it can happen fairly regularly in a game like this. Medkits are no longer consumed when they don't actually when they do not actually begin a heal over time. This occurs when a medkit is applied when another medkit healing effect is already active. So this is again another thing. Battlegrounds H1Z1 has this. there was always a time period to wait. Like, you never put 3 med kits on at the same time. You put one on, you let it heal up all the way, then you put the next one on. Previously, it would allow you to put a med kit on, then put another on, then put another one on. You'd pretty much be losing the effect of the first 2 by the last one. So now it will only let you put the second med kit on once the first one has stopped healing you, which is helping the player out. But I guess play the game enough, you have to wait between med kit before you put multiple med kits on, because it doesn't do any good. It doesn't cascade. It pretty much wastes them. Again, fixed an issue. We're firing at the same time and as a reload is triggered because caused some ammo counts to be incorrect. And just pretty much a couple of other fixes, random things.
We need bandages and other medical key bindings to medical 1 and medical 2.
Yeah.
So important things like that.
Yeah, it's just general purpose game things. And of course, this is H1Z1 King of the Kill with that. I didn't see any real news with Just Survive this week. And it's interesting. I have had really no motivation, I guess would be the word. I've had no motivation to go in and play H1Z1 King of the Kill in quite a while. I just really have not. I just have had absolutely no motivation. I haven't seen really anybody in our group even playing it. I mean, occasionally I'll see Ross fires it up. Barbie will fire it up from time to time, but I really don't see anybody else playing it in our Discord group or anybody I'm friends with on Steam, really. So that's it. It's it. But again, we'll cover it at the end of the show. People are still playing, so it is what it is with that. But of course, we're waiting on the Just Survive updates. We're still waiting on to see, are they going to release the other parts of the map in alpha or in this test server mode? Are they just going to push the whole thing live? What are they going to do with all of that? So it's kind of in a holding pattern with H1Z1.
They'd have to majorly change some things to really. I just get frustrated, and I think that the issue is we had Battlegrounds come out.
Yeah,
the game looks a lot better. It feels more rewarding when you shoot somebody and you feel like it's actually a skill kill rather than I can't quite see that person, and I'm just have my dot on them. I'm firing, and why isn't it hitting them? Like, it's just, they're very incredibly frustrating to play after you played a bunch of Battlegrounds to go turn around and try to play H1Z1. So I think that they're going to have to change some things up to really get me to want to play, because it just doesn't feel as good anymore.
Well, and I think that's the problem, Brian. Bring me back 6 months. You would say you want to play a kind of a shoot 'em up arcade style Hunger Games thing. You're going to either play a PlayerUnknown mod on Arma 2 or Arma 3, or you're going to be playing H1Z1. Now that we've got Battlegrounds, which for all intents and purposes is absolutely destroying H1Z1 in terms of players, it's just a better game. I mean, that's what it comes down to. It's just a much better game. The mechanics are better. The game looks a whole hell of a lot better. It's nothing against Daybreak. It's nothing against H1Z1. It's just a better game. It's just the way it is. It's straight from the source. They get stuff done quick. It's just a better game.
I mean, I've talked about it for years now, it feels like, but the engine that they're developing on now with Battlegrounds is so much more capable, and they can get so much more done with so much less effort in Unreal Engine than they can in Daybreak's engine. With the engine that they're using for H1Z1, for them to do small things, that's why we see, and someone who's making a comment in chat, one of the big things in their update, we renamed this to Medical 1 and Medical 2. Like, for them to make major changes takes a lot of effort and a lot of time in the engine they're in right now. They don't just say, hey, I want to take advantage of this cool feature with lighting or whatever it is. With Daybreak, they have to code it in from hand. Unless they've made it, it doesn't exist. Where you take a game like Battlegrounds, there are possibly things in the engine they're not taking advantage of. Yep. All they have to do is say, hey, let's implement this. And there's a whole another huge company. I mean, you've got Epic, which is a big company, sitting there and just fine tuning on a daily basis an engine. and all you're doing is having to take advantage of all those things. Where
Absolutely.
Daybreak, I don't think they're daily improving their engine. I don't think they're working on Forge Light on a daily basis to improve it. They may be trying to tweak it to make it work, to do certain things, but they're not like, hey, let's figure out how we can get better volumetric lighting. Let's figure out how we can get better physics in the game. Let's figure that's not what they're working on a daily basis. But you know what? That's why it doesn't work. I mean, that's why they're never going to be able to catch up if they don't. I mean, they won't be able to. I mean, I'm not saying, I'm not going to go into the whole they need to change their engine. Far too late.
Oh yeah.
Next game, the next game, will they have learned their lesson? No, I think they're still going to put it on this engine, and that's the point where you say, all right, I'll wash my hands of you. Let's move on.
Yeah, and
pretty much what it comes down to.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no way around it. It is clear that the people, it's not even clear. It's clear that Americans, and this is not a slight against anybody else, but H1Z1, the majority of the people playing that game are playing with Chinese keys, or using the Chinese version of Steam or whatever. They're registering as players from China. A majority of players are playing in China, and it's just a different way that they game in China than they do across most of the other parts of the world. And it's clear that at least more of the Western world of gamers have chosen Battlegrounds. I mean, Brian, I'm seeing people like it or hate them. I'm going on YouTube and I'm seeing videos of people playing this game that aren't even into video games. I saw somebody sent me a link to people know who Philip DeFranco is, a very popular YouTuber. Somebody sent me a video where he was talking about playing Battlegrounds. This guy doesn't talk about video games. Why is he talking about PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds? It makes no sense. But the game is just so freaking good.
It's permeated from the gamers, which are us.
Yep.
Right?
The podcasters.
Because the internet's the internet is full of it's full of niches. Right?
Niches, yes.
Yes. So there's a lot of different areas, and like survival video games or even the battle royale those are niches of the video game market. But you know what? This is permeating and is kind of getting to that point to where it's getting more and more like Call of Duty, which is not a niche. I mean, that's a major portion of the video game market are those type of games. Well, this one is getting to where when you go into a house of some, there's a 15-year-old kid there, or maybe you go into a house that's someone who doesn't play video games on a regular basis, but they, have a couple games. It's getting to the point where they will know what Battlegrounds is, which is a really tough thing to do.
Absolutely.
It's hard to get to where you're that household name.
Call of Duty.
Yeah. Oh, I play Call of Duty.
Everybody. But seriously,
that's what people say.
Yeah, everybody plays Call of Duty. I mean,
it's going to be there. I mean, there is still a ways to go for that, but that's where they're trying to approach, to where you become like a Call of Duty, to where, hey, I've got that game. Hey, and people just sit around. Your friends who aren't gamers, like I'm a gamer. You sit around and you have a circle of people that aren't gamers, and they're sitting there talking about Call of Duty.
Absolutely.
That's where the goal.
You could ask either of my parents. You could show them a trailer, because I mean, this is the thing. You know why people know what Call of Duty is and have played it? Because they have real advertising on television. We're coming up towards COD season. There's going to be these stupid World War II commercials on TV, and people are going to say, "What the hell's that?" And then it's going to say Call of Duty World War II, whatever they're calling it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
well, and they make the videos very much like a movie, to where people are like, "Well, that looks cool." With us, we see we're like, that's not the actual game.
Of course,
and we understand that. But they're doing it right, to where they're like, "Hey, look at this game! Like, this plane's flying in, and that looks like a movie I'd go see in the theater. Oh, that's a cool game," and they remember it. None of these other games, Warcraft, but they released a whole movie about it. Yeah. They would make those cutscenes like that. But that's how and we'll see if that's where they can get to, if they can get the budget for this, which they have it, if they go there to start making. And I think the thing is, he's probably a little too honest, to where he's not going to make cutscenes that are so unrealistic like that. And so he may never get to that point. But I mean, if you want, that's kind of the next step. And I'm sure they're trying to figure out, how can we make really cool trailers that show the game without, lying incredibly to try to sell the game like Call of Duty does, or, you know, with Battleground or with Battlefield, to where it's pretty much, here's all the cutscenes from the game. We're not going to show you a single minute of gameplay, but look how great this game is pretty much comes down to. So we'll see.
Yeah,
I think they're slowly approaching that status.
I just got a private message from somebody who sent me a link. There's a very popular vlogger by the name of Roman Atwood, and somebody just sent me a video of him and his kids playing Battlegrounds. It is completely. I don't know if he's plays video games all the time, but it's just like there are regular people, folks. I have to say this all the time. This is not regular. If you're watching this podcast, you're probably not regular.
We're sitting in a room talking about video games for up to 2 hours on a weekly basis. We are not normal to people that aren't in the room with us.
Yeah, yes. This whole thing is very, but you know, we often have to remind. I shouldn't say this. I often have to remind people that this is not the majority of people. A majority of people do not play video games. A majority of people do not even, at this point in time, don't even own computers. They literally use iPads and cell phones as their computer. You know, this whole thing is very bizarre. And when you've got people that are, and you know, the YouTubers, they're exposed to it, but there are just regular people that aren't known for gaming that are playing Battlegrounds. You're not playing Battlegrounds on a Toshiba laptop or some HP laptop that you buy at Staples. You need a gaming computer to do that. That just doesn't happen.
Yep.
So it's more than just, oh, I have Battlegrounds. You know, you need to have a gaming computer. You're spending probably $800 to $1,000 minimum on a computer to play Battlegrounds, and you have to have the knowledge of building a computer, buying it, and setting up. Brian, let's talk about this really quick. It's kind of a weird show today. You had an issue with 7 Days to Die, and I want you to tell people of the problem you had previous to the game, and because often I say, you got to understand, PC sucks. Like, there are so many problems with PC that don't exist on consoles, and people always rag on me about it, call me a console fanboy. What was your problem this week, Brian?
So I went to go launch because, you know, I'm the one who runs the server for the game, and so I was like, okay, I got to launch and test out 7 Days to Die to make sure that the server came up correctly and everything works. And so I go to launch it, and it just throws an error message just saying cannot run 7 Days to Die. And I tried, okay, so you go through the normal steps that you do on PC, verify the game files, ran through there, nothing's wrong. All right, so I totally remove it and do a fresh install. Still, there's an issue with it. And so it's those steps that you have to go through, and this is what drives away your average consumer.
Absolutely.
Is, okay, well, what about when I can't just put the disc in there and say play, and then, oh, okay, maybe it has to download an update, but it's going to play. I ran into the same thing with Steam. I've been running it. We've been playing some CSGO this week.
Yes. Holy crap.
And exactly the same thing. It keeps kicking me out and it gives me a VAC error. And it's like, well, why does it give me a VAC error? Or here's the possibilities. Maybe you're running CCleaner. Maybe you're running PowerShell in the background. Maybe, and it's like, well, okay, well, none of these things are running right now. Well, you need to verify the game files. Okay. Now you need to repair. And now my Steam doesn't even work anymore because I had it verify the Steam files, you know, the service. And it's just like, you know, this is why people prefer consoles, because most people, when this happens, I mean, I was a computer consultant for over 12. I mean, I've been doing network administration or whatever it is for over 17 years now. Right.
This is almost as long as I've been alive.
Yes. And so if with me, it frustrates me and I'm like, I got to figure this out, because I'll work it through to the end. Like, I'll say, I got to figure this out and fix this problem. But you know what? Your average person will not. They'll be like, it didn't work. I'm going to uninstall it and it's gone. And I haven't, and that's kind of the secret. You know, if you're going to get people doing this, either do it on console or make a game that doesn't do that sort of stuff, and you're constantly having to try to fix it, because those people will be like, it didn't work. And so they uninstalled it, or it didn't work. And so they never played again.
And PH saying it's an idiot filter. I mean, that's just your typical stupid PC response to this. That's just not a valid I mean, this is the key problem I have with people trying to get into PC gaming. You have to invest twice the price of a console to get into the PC market, and then you have problems up the wazoo. Like it's not like, oh, I'm investing twice the money, I'm going to get a 2 times better experience. It's you have to invest now. And again, I'm not saying you should be playing games on console, because I'm personally, I play PC games all the time.
There are things that you get out of playing a game on PC
absolutely
that are better. You can get better graphics. You can get better, just there are things that are better. Absolutely. That can be better. But that comes hand in hand with the problem.
I'm just trying to remind everybody that when you go on here and when we talk about console versus PC console, you have just trying to remember, because most of the people that watch this show, I think, listen to this show, are more into PC gaming. I mean, you were into H1Z1 at some point. H1Z1 is a PC only game. So I'm just trying to remind people that there are these problems when you see this argument of why, when you may say, oh, I don't want Ark going on PC, I don't want Ark going on console, I don't want 7 Days going on console. You do have to remember that there are so many different issues that just arise on PC that just don't exist on the console scene. It's a huge turnoff.
And most people, when they go to Best Buy or wherever to go buy their computer, they don't realize that there's a difference between the video cards. Like they'll go,
they don't have video cards at Best Buy.
Yeah, saying like they don't realize that the computer they're getting has a built-in video card. Well, games, don't run on my computer quite right. Well, they don't understand that, oh, I have to go buy a whole new part and I have to try to figure out how to put it in, or I can pay someone $100 or something at Best Buy to go plug in a stupid PCIe Express card. I mean, it's just, there's that whole barrier to entry that people don't have to deal with. And the thing is, a lot of people don't realize the reason that PC games can be better is because they're kind of maintaining a plateau of performance on a console for a certain period of time. Like they'll try to tweak it and get it better, but they're taking that same hardware. I mean, imagine how long the Xbox 360 lasted. That was a long time that console remained relevant.
Yep.
And but you know what? Like that, at the beginning, like they're putting, okay, the latest technology in it, and then it just goes and goes and goes. And then PCs pass it. And then, PCs are better for a while, but then they'll release another one that's really, really good for what it is. And then it goes for a while. So it's a constant battling thing to where people don't want to go and buy another computer every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
But they may go buy a console every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting to the point, so let's see, we've been doing this show for 2.5 years. I got this computer's probably about 2 years old. And I'm at the point where I'm now pricing out some type of probably just a video card upgrade. But and lady in the chat says you get yourself a decent PC and then a year later you find a game you really like, but it won't run on your gear and it costs you a fortune to upgrade. That is a legitimate problem. And again, it's just issues with stuff. It's just not the easiest experience for somebody. Because this is my thing. I want people to be able to easily join the PC community, because it's, in my opinion, it's a much superior gaming. It's just better playing games on PC. It's just a better experience, 100%.
But then you get to the point where, like, now I'm like, oh, if I want to upgrade my RAM, that's going to be like, beyond what I have now, that's like $500. If I want to get a really good video card, that's an easy $500 that you can, if you want to get the latest video card. You're like, well, and the average person says, well, I could go get a new Xbox or a new PlayStation for that, and it would have everything that I need. So it's kind of a tough thing when the video card costs $500 and the gaming console costs $500. Which one should I do? I know this one will work.
Stairway, you mentioned a $400 PC that you could play video games on. Within a year of that being out, there would be new games that would be out that would be unplayable on that computer. I mean, that's just...
And you can't play any of those on a year from now, you will not be able to play any of those on Ultra, which is what people are like, oh, I can't play it on that.
And again, typical, just my conversation getting completely blown out of what I said. But there you go. I mean, it's you either invest and get something that lasts a while, or you buy cheap and then you're constantly spending the same amount to get back.
Like, oh, you're spending more in the long run. It's just
absolutely,
it's like payments.
Yeah. Yes.
And you never quite have a great computer.
Exactly. So I just think it's interesting. So There you go.
All right, very good. So do we want to go on to
giveaway.
the next thing, or we want to do the giveaway? Okay, here we go. So congratulations. It's Ihana Mayas. Mias. Maybe, I don't know. I can only read it. I can't know exactly what their pronunciation is, but I will assume it's Ihana Mias something. Congratulations. I will send you.
It says not a follower. You should probably follow the channel.
Yeah, since we're giving you free games, I encourage you to follow the channel.
Yes.
It's free. It doesn't cost you a single thing to do it. So
there you go.
Thank you very much. I'll send you a message in inside of Twitch here, and it should show up. Check your other messages.
Yes, of course. So again, thank you for that, and enjoy.
It's Mikhail. He's a friend of ours, so I actually know who he is. So
then you have no excuse for not following the channel. There you go. So
there we go. He just followed the channel.
Perfect. I love what we have to ask for. There you go. So Conan Exiles had an update. They're continuing on their trend to do something. We talked about a couple, maybe it was last week, the week before. There's some changes to the map, so on and so forth. Couple of patch notes with it. This was a hot fix. Fixed an issue with the max ping allowed. They don't reference what that is, but obviously something with the ping allowing. You can no longer.
So it's probably the amount that it will let you get up to as far as your ping.
That's what I would assume.
You. Yeah, so it's probably like let's say they say you can have a 200 millisecond ping.
Yeah.
Before it kicks you, so they're adjusting that. Did they say they raised it or lowered it?
That's it. It's just fixed an issue. It doesn't say what I have no idea what the problem was. It just fixed an issue with max ping allowed. So who knows? You can no longer build when climbing. Huge issue. You're climbing up the side of something and you're building stuff. That could be a problem. You can now enter third person when climbing. Several server optimization related to placeables and buildings. And fixed a case where the avatar defense dome would disappear on server restart. So quick little hot fix from the folks over at Conan Exiles, continuing to build up and try to.
Well, and that change that I talked about last week of them upgrading the engine, that probably took a lot of their resources, and you kind of have to put everything on hold for a little bit when you do that, because people that would usually be implementing new features and improving the game are then having to make it compatible with the most recent version. So
yeah,
there's probably a little bit of there will be, and this one is a smaller one, but they're most likely from doing something like that. There's a period of time where you don't see the progress because people were unable to work on things while that process is happening. Like you can't go and write code or make blueprints for, stuff that isn't even there yet. It's like not even on the new version. So we may have, there could be a couple week lag period while they're getting maybe things they have been working on in the new version, or they're just starting fresh, making something new in the new Unreal version that they are on now. So that's just a little bit of how it works with the developers. They just can't, it's really hard to explain. Hopefully what I'm trying to say came across, but there's just a period where once they get to the current version, it's like saying, I'm going to install, a Windows 10 program on my computer, but I'm running Windows 8. Well, you can't even start the install until you get to Windows 10. So they're on Windows 10, you can install the Windows 10 program. Does that make sense? That's average everyday person terms.
Yeah, fantastic job, Brian. I'm going to start calling you the describer. You can describe the scenarios.
The describer.
I want to give a quick shout out for our next topic. I want to thank our Tossbag on Twitter, who tweeted us a game to check out earlier this week. This game was not on my radar. It's a Kickstarter project.
This one was actually on my radar just because
gotcha.
Nisco actually sent me a message.
So Brian was checking it out. I had never heard of it. But this is a game by the name of Dead Matter. It's available on Kickstarter. Their goal was $47,000, and they are now at $93,000 with 22 days left to go. Just read you the description of this game really quick. Dead Matter is the name of this game. Dead Matter is a true sandbox survival horror. Players will fight to survive in a zombie-packed post-apocalyptic world that fosters whichever playstyle fits you best. Settle down and defend your home from outside threats with an expansive crafting and barricading system. cultivate and live off the land, or branch out, explore, and scavenge whatever vehicles, weapons, and food you may find in the zombie-plagued Alberta, alone or with your friends. And this was originally released as a mod for Crysis 2 back in 2013, but now some of those mod developers have taken that mod for Crysis 2 and are now essentially turning this into a full-fledged game. It looks pretty interesting, Brian. Obviously, since you've already heard about this before, do you have any opinions on it?
Okay, so first thing that I'm not sure about, that they don't really explain in here, that I guess maybe this could be helping them because people are assuming, and you know what assuming does.
Yes, I do.
And yeah, as they say multiplayer, they don't say anywhere that this is going to be 100 players on a map. They say play with your friends.
Yeah.
This could be a 4-player co-op game.
The Forest.
This could be an 8-player co-op game. It was made for Crysis. Originally, it was on Crysis Engine. It looks like this one is on Unreal from everything I've seen. But we don't know that it's going to be a large multiplayer, hosted
MMO
type of a game. Yeah. And so this could be that this is actually a game that is you against the environment, and you and your friends may be against the environment. Usually you would say, we're hoping to have this many players. And the fact that they just said multiplayer and that you can possibly play with your friends makes me wonder, is this going to be a kind of a co-op game, or is this going to be one where you actually play like, Just Survive or something like that with a large amount of players? And so I didn't see anywhere where it really talked about that. Maybe I just didn't catch it, but from everything that I saw on the Kickstarter, and I kickstarted it. I mean, this is the kind of game that would be fun, but I didn't see anywhere where it actually said the number of players that they're hoping to have. So that's kind of my concern. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you.
So we'll see. I mean, this is something that it could be fun. I mean, just like some of these other games are fun with however many players, but I think some people are making assumptions of what the game is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And it may not end up being that. It may not be a Just Survive killer.
Yeah.
It could be just one that we play as a group, and we can get, maybe up to 8 people on it.
Yeah.
There's no hint at it.
Based on the verbiage here, again, assuming it does kind of, if you had to pick a game like The Forest or H1Z1, I think this leans more towards a game like The Forest, which is a limited player count, a little more personable with people you want to play with.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, H1Z1, where you're just running around.
But how many people are buying this game thinking that it's going to be I think
I'm sure a bunch, because that's how this works. People see games on the computer.
This is kind of marketing.
Yeah.
This could be a good mistake in their favor, that most of these people are buying it thinking that it's going to be that game. But if it's not, how are people going to respond 6 months from now when they get a game that says, okay, here, do you want to play with 4 of your Steam friends? There we go. Let's play.
Exactly.
I'm kind of surprised they didn't put it in there. And, maybe if it is only 8 players and they didn't put it in there, then maybe they did that on purpose to kind of, not drive away those people.
Yeah. So it looks interesting. They've reached a couple of their map expansion stretch goals. They talk about planes and trains and stuff like that. So it looks interesting. It kind of gives me a little bit of a vibe of the Tom Clancy game that we played. The name is escaping me right now. But that the Tom Clancy game that you purchased and we played for a while.
You're talking about
yes.
I can't remember it now either.
I
know which one you're talking about.
But the Tom Clancy game, it's got that
The Division. Is
the
that
Division,
the one you're talking
yes.
about?
It's got some similar look to the Division with the the barricades up with the police lights around it and kind of this massive city that's kind of empty. It's kind of got a little bit of a Division vibe. So
PH is confirming that the devs said 60 plus, even though they don't put it in there.
Okay. Well, that's interesting.
And so they are. I'm just surprised they didn't mention that. Like when you say multiplayer, that can mean a multitude.
That's an MMO.
Multitude of things.
At 60 players, that's an MMO.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing is if you just say multiplayer, that could be 4 players. Because when it says you and your friends, I'm just surprised they didn't say, hey, we're aiming for 60 plus players, because that makes a whole nother dynamic for the game.
So what we're going to do is we'll keep this on our radar. Hopefully, I should say maybe we can reach out to the dev team here and maybe get an interview or something. Yeah, we're going to be looking to do some of that stuff. So maybe we'll reach out here and try to get an interview with the developers here and just kind of figure out what what's going on.
And some people in chat saying they have connection to the developers.
Perfect. Well, then
so you know how to maybe reach out and
how to get in touch with us. So definitely let us know. We'd love to talk to them on the show. So thanks for again, and anybody that is listening to this show live on a podcast, if you come across a game that you see, tweet it to us at InfectionCast. It goes to Brian, it goes to me, or email us contact@infectionpodcast.com, because it goes to Brian and it goes to myself. When you send Brian something to look at, he only sees it when you send something to me to look at. I'm the one that only sees it. So definitely good to send it so that we could both have access to that. So at InfectionCast or contact@infectionpodcast.com. And we appreciate it.
Yeah. And then there was another game that was kind of put on our radar as well. It was just released here 4 days ago. But this is Next Day Survival. I mean, it's very cheap, so it's not like a high-end game, but it kind of matches the genre that we talk about. It's an early access open world survival multiplayer game. And so it's, this might be one that you would be interested in as well. It is. So
it's one thing that trailer.
I always, so yeah, this is one where it's actually, and I understand why they would do this, but this is an actual video trailer to kind of get the feeling of the game across. And it's the game looks good. I mean, for what it is, especially right now, it's 25% off. It's $7.49. So if you're interested in trying that out, the game is pretty cheap to be able to get. It's only been out for 4 days. So far it's got mostly positive, 837 reviews, mostly positive. That's a good sign.
Yeah.
So I would encourage you, maybe it's one that you would enjoy, try it out. It's a good way to support, I like to encourage and support these small developers, because this could be their first game. And if this is their first game, it looks good. I mean, it's tough to make a video game. So give them a little bit of support. And especially if it's a fun game to play. You may not play it for the next 2 years all the time, but it's good to support these kind of companies that are putting out a nice fun game to play.
And a couple of the thing in here, I like this on their Steam page. They have a list of main features, which I think is really cool. It says several additional game modes, single player, multiplayer, PvE. It's a big open world, interactions, and shootouts with NPCs, which is interesting. Something that's not, games have NPC interaction, but a shootout with an NPC, actually having like serious in-game stuff going on with an NPC, isn't all that common. Systems of factions and character reputations, a skill system, different types of transportation, a story and a quest line, Brian, of course, as you like that stuff. So it looks interesting, well, for sure. So I would say check it out.
Yeah. I mean, I just figured it was worth a mention. And at that price, if you don't really play it that much, I mean, it's, not too much loss. It's not a $60 game.
Yeah, so. Definitely not. So check it out.
Very good. All right. In The Forest, they came out with an update, which they don't put out a ton of updates, but they put one out on July 20th as well. And this one had a lot of fixes, but mainly I wanted to just go through a couple of them. They're finishing up their caves, which is, they're really pushing towards this final release on The Forest. And it's going to have supposedly a really cool kind of wrap up to the whole story. I mean, I'll give away a spoiler for the first 2 minutes of the game. You're on an airplane with your son. There's turbulence and it goes down. Not a good game to play right before you go on a long plane ride, possibly. But you crash into a forest, and when you come to, there is some sort of a tribe native from wherever you're at that has taken your son, and they've taken him away. And so your kind of beginning premise is to try to figure out where your son is and that's the story that you're working through. So they said that this patch added a first pass of achievements. So that's 45 achievements so far. And so they all should be unlockable currently in single player. However, a couple may not be fully activated in a multiplayer game just yet. And then the last patch, they introduced a camcorder that now has 6 VHS tapes that you can find in the world. And you can use these tapes to watch and learn about what might have happened before you crash landed. So you're learning about the history. It's not an island, but history of the forest that you're in. The crane building now has a new rope added to its base, and you can use this rope to bring the platform either up or down. The new machete can be upgraded like other weapons, and also has been balanced to be more powerful against small bushes, and you can even chop down trees, although it's not the best tool for the job. Yeah, so that's the main things that they fixed on this. But this is a really fun game in small groups, and I really hope they continue to work on the server part of it, because if we could throw this up on a server and get 15 people in it, we would have a blast. When we tried to put just hosting on one of our personal connections, I think we got to about 6 people, if I remember correctly, and it started really struggling. So not really a game that works well for our large group, but if they can get that figured out, this would be a game that we haven't really experienced that much of yet. That would be a lot of fun with a group of 10 or 15 people. It has a really cool, one thing that really drew us to it was the building system. You pretty much can say, we want to build something that looks like this here, puts a ghost of that item, and then people can start bringing the materials to build that. And it starts to kind of be built over time as each of those pieces of material are put on, into that object. So kind of a unique thing with that. But they said, like, for instance, there's a cave polish pass for cave 10. So there's at least 10 caves in the forest. So there's a lot of stuff that we haven't explored yet. So hopefully we do take a trip back on this and be able to play this in a multiplayer setting that makes sense. Because I don't really want to run this on my personal computer and having a horrible experience when we could throw it on a server and really enjoy it and keep playing for more than the time, because that's the issue is people log off. Whoever's hosting the server logs off, and then everyone else has to stop playing at that moment. So it's kind of one of those tough ones to do.
Yes.
When you have a large group, that especially in different time zones like we are.
Yep. So yeah, it's I think it had a lot of I think it had a lot of potential, but I think some of that has dropped off based on and I think they're eventually going to add custom, if they haven't already added custom hosted servers. They're in the process of adding that. But
I mean, they've been making it better, but it
should have been their day one. Like, that's the thing, is they created it literally as the game was essentially single player. I mean, Brian and I tried to play it a couple times and we just couldn't get together to play it. It's like I'm like, oh, I'm free. Brian's like, oh, I'm busy. And next time Brian says, oh, I'm free. I'm like, oh,
it's built on Unity, so it's capable of it. That's Absolutely. The issue, is it is capable. There's plenty of online games that use Unity, so I don't know what their holdup is, other than maybe they made it so much of the things not with the multiplayer in mind, or they just don't have, they need to hire on someone who knows how to code and make the network code for it. I think that they would really open the game up to a lot more people if they did get that implemented.
There you go.
So all right, so let's just go ahead and jump into We Happy Few. Mainly I just wanted to point out we have a link to this, which is their weekly journal update, and it's the August update is approaching. So this is the 21st, so this came out 3 days ago. But they had some interesting, for people that are into game development, they have a video in this that talks about the rigging process and how they rig things. And people who don't know what rigging is, let's say you have a character in the game and you want them to be able to walk, you want them to be able to move their arms. You have to pretty much rig in the bones of that character, so that even down to the fingers. If you want a character bending their fingers, you have to rig those fingers into their, put the bones of the fingers in, and then that allows you to animate the character. Well, even something as small as they show in here, and as an example, a little perfume bottle, where it has, kind of a thing that you press, a balloon type of thing you press, and it sprays out the perfume. To make that something that you can press and it shows right, they have to animate it. So all the way down to that detail, he's just showing how they animate things, and it's kind of an interesting inside look at some of the development process in this one. And they're still working on the game. It's going to be interesting because it's actually coming up pretty quick that their release is. So I have this game. I'm really looking forward to it, but because there's a lot of quest and story to it, I'm waiting till release because I don't want to just run around and lose interest in it. I want to actually play through the game because it is one of those that looks like it's going to have a nice story and quest line that you can follow all the way through. And it's not a big multiplayer game. This is a single player game. So
Yes.
anyways, I'm not going into the specifics of that, but I would encourage you, check out that video. It is an interesting video, and it's called Animation Rigging Process.
Yes. All right. Well, we're going to do a little bit shorter of a show tonight. I still have more stuff to accomplish here. So we do have, got anything before I jump into current players, Brian, or anything else to note?
Well, let's go ahead and do the next game giveaway here.
Okay. What about game of the week? What are we thinking for game of the week?
So we'll do Miscreated.
Okay,
actually.
Perfect.
We haven't done Miscreated in a while, and so I figured that would be a good one to do.
Hopefully I can make it. Yeah, that'd be fun.
And so this will be Friday at 9:00 Eastern.
Yep.
We'll pick a server at that time. We'll go in, and I don't know that they haven't really reworked the base building yet. So I don't know that we'll be like, hey, let's go make bases or
Probably
anything.
not.
But it's a fun game to run around.
Drive around.
We'll live in a bus and we'll drive around. We'll drive around the map and just have fun. So
exactly.
Miscreated, I encourage you to join us. Make sure you're in our Discord, and we will jump into a channel and all get in the same server and have some fun. It's a beautiful game, great environment, and a lot of fun to play with friends. So
there you go.
All right, so let me go and open up this next raffle, and this will be once again a 30-point raffle, exclamation point giveaway, and you can be entered into it. And I'm going to be giving away a copy of Devil May Cry and DMC Devil May Cry. And so I will put a link to into this so you can see the page for it. But it is a I don't know. It's kind of a weird game. I have it, but I've never played it. It's an action hack and slash, great soundtrack gore game. But if you look at the ratings, recently overwhelmingly positive, and then overall very positive. So that's usually a good sign that it is a very good game. So it's right now it's usually $30. So we're giving away a $30 game for free. All you like to do is type exclamation point giveaway in chat, and got 17 friends who already own it. People that recommend it that are my friends. So hey, if you don't have it already, type exclamation point giveaway, and we'll give it away right before the end of the show.
Yes, and of course, as always, you can support our show. We have a couple of different ways to do that. infectionpodcast.com/support. You can bookmark our Amazon affiliate links so that when you buy stuff on Amazon, it throws us some affiliate money on that. We've got like 7 or 8 different countries listed on there. So you go there, you just bookmark it, and then you can, when you use Amazon, click that link. Also, you can go to on the website, infectionpodcast.com/support. We've got a PayPal link. If you want to do a direct contribution, just a regular PayPal donation, you can do that. Or the new way that everybody seems to be doing it is the Humble Bundle Partnership Program, which is really cool. If you buy a game on Humble Bundle, it helps support us as well. And it also, from the store, from a Humble Bundle itself, all of it supports us. So if you're going to buy a game, it's on Steam, it's also on Humble Bundle. Maybe you pick it up on Humble Bundle, use our code, and it helps us out. So a couple of different ways that you can help support the show, and as always, we appreciate that. Alrighty, Brian, I've got current players coming up here. So a little bit of a limited set of games this week, a limited set of numbers. Let's jump into H1Z1 King of the Kill. Currently playing this, 37,416. The 24-hour peak, 137,036. And the 70 peak, 140,543. Again, you can crap on the game. You can say it's bad. You know, people are still playing it. People are still playing the game. So there's H1Z1 King of the Kill. Ark Survival Evolved. Currently playing this, 34,759. The 24-hour peak, 51,619. And the 70 peak, 58,990 4. 7 Days to Die. People are still playing this game. People are loving this new patch. Currently playing it 16,834. The 24-hour peak, 22,086. And the 7-day peak, 28,826. Player Unknown's Battlegrounds. Currently playing this 165,164. The 24-hour peak, 364,760. And the 7-day peak, 422,618, Brian. That is up almost
inching towards 500,000.
That is up almost 40,000 players from the previous week. Actually, it's up 40,000 players from the previous week. Last week it was right around 480,000 last week.
So it should be 500,000 in about 2 weeks, right?
If these numbers make sense,
it keeps up.
See, I said they'd be about 400,000 in August. They probably will pass 500,000 in August. But when does this stop? This can't just continue to go on. I mean, where's the bottleneck? 650?
Yeah.
Can they even make it to 500? Be a point
where it plateaus.
Yeah, I mean, can they make it to 500,000?
I think they can. I mean, at that rate, I don't see why not. At this pace, they should be able to.
True.
500,000, I can see. 1 million, that's pushing it.
Yeah, I don't think 1 million.
I don't know that they'll ever reach. Excessive. I mean, there's a point where it's going to plateau, and all right, you'll hit your kind of peak. Here's how many players you're going to have at one time.
Yeah.
I don't know where that is for this game, though. I mean,
it's crazy.
They've sold 5 million copies. All they do is keep a certain percentage of them interested to play every day.
I've never seen anything like this with such a new game. And we've been doing this for over 2.5 years. We've followed a lot of games from start, or very early on in their life cycle. I've never seen a game like this before. That is, I mean, You can go on SteamDB, which is the site that we use to pull these numbers, and you go on the front page and it shows the most played games right now: Dota 2, CS:GO, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds, Payday 2, Team Fortress 2, H1Z1, Grand Theft Auto. I mean, it's always the second, third, or fourth game being played on Steam, no matter when you look.
Yep.
Constantly. It's insane how popular this game is. So that is
good for them.
Players. Oh yes, very good for them. That's current players.
Very good. All right, so let's go and we'll do tip of the week, where either I talk about a specific game or a general gaming tip for survival games, possibly. But this one's going to be on The Forest. So this is tip of the week. All right. So in The Forest, there's some kind of fun things I found that you can do that maybe not everybody knows about. But one thing that you can do in this game is you can use mud to camouflage yourself. So one thing I would encourage you to try is to look around. They have swamps, they have ponds, sometimes along the coastline. You can run along there and you'll find these kind of patches of mud. They're a little bit shiny, but you can take that and then you spread it over your body, and it will allow you to be able to blend into the environment around you. So I encourage you to try that out. It's a nice way to, and it makes it so that the natives are less likely to notice you, less likely to have things attack you. So it's a good way to kind of protect yourself and blend in. A really good game mechanic that they put in there. Another fun thing that you can try that probably not everybody realizes is that you can try to get fish that are in the ponds around. There's a whole bunch of ponds that are spread around the map, and you can try to get them with a spear. So if you take 2 sticks, you can combine those together. You make yourself, I think that's a weak spear, something like that. And then you can try to spear some fish from the pond to get yourself some food. So kind of a fun thing you can try. That's one thing about this game, and that's possibly why they struggle with having a lot of players, is they're implementing some really cool mechanics. The game is a lot of fun. So if you're playing that, give those things a try, and they will help you to eat and to not get attacked so much. So that is tip of the week.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Brian.
Yes.
And of course, this game night, Friday night, Miscreated, we are going to shoot for Saturday, August 12th. We're going to start our board gaming, our monthly board game thing back up. It's been a couple. The past couple months have been pretty crazy. So, if you don't already have Tabletop Simulator, I believe is the name of the game, you can add that to your wish list. It's on sale from time to time, but we'll be doing that. We'll pick a board game, and that'll be Saturday, August 12th, sometime in the later afternoon into the evening hours. We'll put a message out on Discord, and then you can see that. So
sounds good.
Yes, write that down.
Very good. All right, so let's go and we'll do this last game giveaway.
Okay.
And so congratulations, Locklore97. Guys been listening to the show for a long time, and I will send you a message and we'll get that to you. So that'll be Devil May Cry. And that was Game of the Week. Very good. If you want to find me, we're ready to roll out of this.
We're ready to rock and roll.
Get you on the road.
Yes.
All right. If you want to find me at Boise Computer on Twitter, or you're more looking to go check out my blog, biteoftech.com. It's BITE of tech.com. Also, go join our Discord if you're looking to play some of these games. Maybe you want to play some Ark with us here in a couple weeks. We want to play some Miscreated here this coming weekend. Go to a website, infectionpodcast.com. Click on the right-hand side, join server, and that'll join you right to our Discord server. And you can join. I mean, right now there's, I think, about 60 people on there right now. A couple of them playing in a channel. But you can just jump in, say, hey, anybody want to play this game? Great way to group up with a good group of players. Also, make sure you join our Steam groups. You get notifications of the game of the week and also of our live show. Next week, we should be back on our normal time, back to our normal schedule. So this was an early show. Thank you, everybody that joined us. Usually we're not on Mondays, so it's nice to have a nice turnout in chat, even on one of our off days. So, and I think that's about it. Make sure if you guys have some of those different things that you find, you're like, hey, this is a really cool game, like Dead Matter. Let us know, because what we've had, I think that was 3 different people probably. Someone said it in our Discord. Had someone message me. We had someone send us a message on Twitter about it. So it's really nice when you got people that help you to find those games that maybe wouldn't run across, and people we can talk about them.
Absolutely.
Do a little bit of research for the show and see what they're all about.
Absolutely. So, Brian, thank you very much. And again, we will, 95% sure we'll be back next Tuesday and for the foreseeable future on Tuesdays, right here on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/Infection Podcast. We should be good to go for a while with the Tuesday shows. But in case we aren't, there's always that possibility. You have to follow us on Twitter at InfectionCast. If you really care about watching the show live, follow us on Twitter at InfectionCast. Or be in our Discord. We'll notify you in both places with that. So you can do that on that. Both of those links are on our website, infectionpodcast.com. Brian, thank you very much. Quick note, I'm going to be starting up, I'm hoping to start up streaming on my personal Twitch channel here in a couple of weeks. So if you want to check that out, you can follow me. It's at 360 Gaming Live is the Twitch channel. So twitch.tv/360 Gaming Live. Smash that follow button on that channel on Twitch. You can do that. I'll put a link on Twitter or something for that. You can follow me personally on Twitter at Nicholas M. Craig. You can follow us on Twitter at InfectionCast. Ladies and gentlemen, for the final time from our New York studios, my name is Nick Craig. This is Infection Podcast. We'll be back next week. Thanks for tuning in.